What would I title such a book? As I thought about a title, I would be thinking about the millions of cars that goes by an entrance that would have been. Highways 169 and 53 join 4 miles south of the entrance of Lookout Mountain. Highway 53 opens the doors to Lake Vermilion, Crane Lake, International Falls, in Canada, while 169 takes people to Lake Vermilion, the casino, Ely, and of course the wilderness canoe area, two of the main highways in northern Minnesota. I would be thinking about the 10-car train that came from Duluth with UMD students on a weekend in 1959. Lookout Mountain entertained over 1,000 skiers that weekend. I'd be thinking about the campground that I started after taking over the area, and how happy the people were that stopped there because it was the only vehicle camp in the area. I'd installed 12 electrical and water hookups as a temporary beginning for a campground. I'd built a shower and restrooms for the campground. Thinking of a book title, I would be remembering the train full of Boy Scouts. Hundreds of Boy Scouts and their leaders that came by train to have their jamboree at Lookout Mountain. Tents pitched on every flat surface over the entire area. I knew when I decided to buy the area that there was no way it could be profitable unless there were summer activity possibilities. First year the hill opened, there were 40,000 summer visitors with over 1,200 vehicles from 30 different countries that stopped to see the area. I'd be remembering the Seroptimists and other groups who used the chalet for meetings. I would be thinking about people who came to be married at Lookout. And I certainly would be thinking about what a great thing the hill had been for families, because people came as families and they spent their whole days together as families, doing something they all enjoyed. When I purchased the area, I knew that in order to make the improvements that were necessary to make it profitable, it had to be a year-round attraction. And I knew that in order to do that, it was going to take a lot of money, which I didn't have, but which could be available if I had collateral. And the collateral would have to be the operation itself. But to do that, I'd have to own the land, which was owned by the federal government. It's not possible for me to buy the land or exchange the land with the federal government, but the state of Minnesota could, and I could exchange land with the state and make it work. It was risky, but the state agreed, and plans were made with Governor Levander's help to undertake and make that kind of an exchange. The exchange was approved through Milwaukee all the way to Washington, D.C. Congressman John Blotnick sat in my living room at our home and confirmed that everything was in order for a successful exchange. We didn't have anything to worry about. Previous to buying the Lookout area facility, I had purchased the Gateway property, that property at the Y, the junction where 53 and 169 separated. I had started the North Country Traders business, and I had plans on the drawing board for a Best Western motel on the south side of 169 where my land would join the ski area land. I knew when I purchased the area that if the land exchange did not happen, and there was no way to get the necessary funding, that I could partially recover my costs by moving the chalet to the land I owned on the Y corner and selling the balance of the equipment to somebody else. That, of course, is eventually what happened. As I consider my total to a book of written, I would be remembering that George Martin and a group he'd put together, a group that was planning to build a golf course adjacent to Lookout Mountain when and if the land exchange became a reality. As I thought about all of the things my book should cover, I had to recall some of the other good things that happened at Lookout before I ever assumed ownership. The Mount Sabi Ski Club with their enthusiastic support, helping people learn to ski, helping with ticket sales, so many other things. The ski hostesses, a group of 14 young women that made people comfortable and helped in so many ways. The volunteer ski patrol, always on the slope to aid when aid was needed and making sure that the area was safe and that the equipment was running properly. Of course, I'd also remember Frankie Yankovic and the dancing at the chalet. Young people having clean fun. And the winter carnival each year when the costumes and ski races filled a fun weekend at the end of our ski season. I'd be thinking about the Canadian flag that was flying on the one side of our entrance, the American flag on the other side. Lookout Mountain attracted a lot of Canadian visitors that purchased food and places to stay over the weekends. I'd have to consider the businesses that were started due to the building of Lookout Mountain. One that remained is the Ski View Hotel. Certainly I'd have to think of Archie and Kathy Lundeen and the Four Seasons Supper Club that really originated at Lookout Mountain. As I consider a title, I'll have to take into consideration a Virginia City Council that was given the opportunity to continue the area at no cost to the city or the residents, and was offered extra funding to improve the facility. And I must remember Councilman Leroy Gus, Jim Floyd, Sheldon Johnson, Aldermans Lofquist and Gunderson, who just could not find any advantage in the city having the facility. When the city turned down the gift of Lookout Mountain, according to the minutes at one of their regular meetings, attended by Lindy, Sterich, and Silvola, a request was made to the state by the Virginia Park Commission to acquire the Lookout Mountain facility. The state of Minnesota responded by sending a representative to Virginia who made the same offer to the Park Commission as had been made to the city. The meeting was held up at the Virginia Golf Course. A special meeting, a meeting I attended, and I witnessed the state and the commission agreeing to take over Lookout Mountain, a meeting whose minutes have mysteriously vanished. The commission voted to take on the project as offered, but rejected it a few days later at a special meeting attended by Lindy, Syka, Starich, and Horvath. It seems that when all of the smoke cleared, it was mining interests that held the mineral rights under the land covered by Lookout Mountain that killed the land exchange in Washington, and somehow managed to influence the councilors and the commissioners that they would not be helping the area by saving and improving the Lookout Mountain ski area. Funny thing happened. The city of Mountain Iron became interested and decided they would take over the area, only to change their minds just a few days later. I now better understand the effectiveness of lobbyists in Washington and the power of the mining industry to be effective politically. Strange things happen. I believe I would title the book, if it were written, What Could Have Been.